Thank you. I was just waiting for a cue. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jovita Dominguez. I am the Chair of Education and Licensing.
This meeting is being recorded.
Today is January 25th, 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope everybody is healthy and ready to start a new year. I will begin with roll call. I would like to, I believe we have Mary Fagan as a member. Are you on, Mary?
I'm here, Mary Fagan. Good morning, everyone. I am the Vice President of the Board, member of this committee, and appointed by the Governor in the Nursing Services Administrator role.
Thank you. I did forget to say that I was appointed by Governor Newsom. And then we have President Dolores Trujillo.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dolores Trujillo, and I've been appointed by the Governor in the role of the Direct Care Provider. And I hope everybody has had a good start to their new year.
And I believe Tricia Wynn is our member also. Are you on, Tricia?
Yes, I am, Jovita. Thanks very much. Tricia Wynn. I was appointed by Governor Newsom into the public member role.
And then we have our EO, Loretta Melby.
Thank you. I'm Loretta or Lori Melby, and I'm the board's executive officer appointed by the board.
And we have also, and I am so sorry, Reza.
Sorry, Jovita. Good morning, Reza Pejjuhesh, BRN Legal Counsel. Nice to see everybody today.
Thank you. And then we have Dr. Marianne McCarthy, who will lead us through our agenda.
Good morning, I'm Marianne McCarthy. I'm a supervising nursing education consultant and the liaison to the Education and Licensing Committee. Jovita, I'm going to let you go ahead and do everything up until 8.3, okay?
Thank you, Marianne. We have established quorum. Happy to start the meeting. And then I believe BRN moderator, if you take us to public comment for items not on the agenda, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. This is the BRN moderator. I will be moderating the meeting. To facilitate public comment, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When the committee reaches a point in the agenda at which public comment is appropriate, the question and answer feature will be turned on and members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by inserting the phrase, "I would like to make a comment," in the question box, which is typically in the lower right of your screen. I will then call on the individual and unmute their microphone. The individual will have 2 minutes to make their comments. I will not give a warning as your time approaches. I will mute your microphone and will announce that your time has exceeded the time allotted. I will then proceed to the next member of the public who has a comment. Please note that the question and answer feature is being used only as a means for members of the public to represent that they would like to make a verbal comment. When your turn comes, you will be prompted to unmute. If your question can be answered, the committee will respond accordingly. When making your comment, speak about anything you believe is important for the members to know. Remember, committee members cannot address any item not on the agenda, items not in the agenda at that moment, or items that you would like to be added to a future meeting, or items that will be discussed later on the agenda will be discussed at the correct times during the meeting. I will provide a brief reminder of this approach at the start of each public comment item. Finally, when committee members or BRN staff are not speaking, I would like to remind them to mute their microphone. If I detect background noise during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, I will mute your microphones automatically. We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Elsie Chris would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Or I'm sorry, Chris Elsie.
I am the BRN Nurse Support Group Facilitator for San Luis Obispo County and surrounding areas. I would just like to bring something to the board's attention this morning. On December 5th of 2023, I attended the Intervention Evaluation Committee meeting held by the BRN, and I made a public comment. I was, just praising Virginia Matthews and the Maximus program for an 87% success rate in nurse recovery. And I did call out a couple nurses with the, to BRN employees at that time for not responding for appropriate time for questions for me about my nurses. And I did have some comments about how the board is proceeding with the nurses in the Maximus program that is provided by the BRN. I'd like to give you an example this morning of a problem that I had with one of my nurses recently. My nurse.
Can I just ask, sorry to interrupt, please feel free to make your comment, but keep it general and not identify anybody in the program. Thank you.
Of course, I will not.
Apologize for interrupting you. Go ahead.
Okay. Yes, my nurse decided to take a job outside of passing medications because she was initially denied access to narcotics. So she took a job of the many careers that are outside of passing narcotics in nursing. She is finishing her Maximus program when she was told all of a sudden that was not her contract, that she needs to now find another job and has to be successfully past narcotics for 6 months before she's allowed to finish the Maximus program. To me, that is putting a nurse in jeopardy, a nurse that did not want to pass narcotics anymore. I do not see any value or evidence that that would provide any kind of recovery estimate on whether that nurse will, I assume, try to divert narcotics, but in that 6-month period. So I would just like to bring this to the board's attention. I don't know if this is something that the board has discussed or it's some other committee that has decided these new regulations, just kind of draconian regulations against nurses. And now I have a nurse in her last part of the recovery that had to leave her current job to find another job so she could pass narcotics, which she did not want to do. And I will be calling on some, if this does not get kind of evaluated, I would like to be calling on some government oversight onto the BRN, which I think we should have at this point. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comments in the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in the Sacramento office?
My understanding is there's no public member in the Sacramento location at this point.
Perfect. Should I ask that question every time or?
No need to ask each time. We will be notified if a public member shows up. As soon as a public member shows up, then we will check that location at each time.
Perfect. Thank you.
To be clear, we do have a member of the BRN staff at the in-person location at the DCA headquarters, who I presume will let Lori know immediately if somebody comes in.
Yes, correct.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee Chair, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Real quick for the public and our committee members, this is the Education Licensing Committee. We do not have any focus on Intervention Evaluation Committee, which is what the public commenter was referencing. So we would not be able to put it on an agenda. This would potentially go to full board in February if the public commenter decides to make a public comment at that point, or if we were to hold an enforcement intervention committee that the board members make up the committee members of, and then he could bring it to that committee and that could be agendaized there as well. So there are many options for him to get this on an agenda, but we do not have a focus of Intervention Evaluation Committee for the Education Licensing Committee. So although you may choose that you want to address it, that is not something we could address within this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. This brings us to review and vote on whether to approve the previous minutes, which were October 5th, 2023. Would anybody support me in approving these minutes?
Are you making a motion? I
Yes.
second.
Yes, I'm making a motion to approve the October 5th, 2023, and I believe Dolores seconds. Thank you.
Yes.
Which brings us to 8.3.
Actually, we will need to go to public comment first
Oh.
and then take a vote, please.
Thank you, Marianne.
No problem.
BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for a comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. And this does bring us to 8.3. Marianne?
Let's take a vote, Jovita. Would you do roll call, please?
I am so sorry. I think
It's
my
okay.
brain is
I'm here
all
for you.
cobwebbed.
I'm here for you.
I, Jovita, vote yes. Mary Fagan?
I will abstain. I was not able to be at that meeting.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Dolores
I vote yes.
and Trisha?
I vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries. Now this brings us to 8.3. Mary Ann?
No problem. Thank you so much. Agenda item 8.3, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend ratification of minor curriculum revisions and acknowledge receipt of program progress reports, and whether to recommend ratification of clinical facility approvals or other action. These schools under consideration are identified in the meeting materials on the list, and according to board policy, nursing education consultants may approve minor curriculum changes that do not significantly alter philosophy, objective, content. Approvals must be reported to the Education Licensing Committee and to the board. Minor curriculum revisions may include the following: curriculum changes, work study programs, preceptor programs, public health nurse certificate programs. There is a list of schools who have submitted their minor curriculum revisions, their clinical agency or facility approval, and program progress reports that have been approved by the nursing education consultants. These are in your materials. They are lists named by the same names, and this is a consent agenda item. Thank you.
Would any of the members do they have any questions or statements they would like to address for 8.3?
This is Trisha. I read through them and they all seemed, fairly innocuous. So, I would be supportive of this motion.
Okay. Any other member have any questions or concerns?
No, I agree with Trisha.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to recommend to ratification of minor curriculum revisions, clinical agency or facility approvals, and acknowledge receipt of program progress reports. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Trisha. I believe we will go to public comment. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please.
Mark,
Yes.
we now have a public member in DCA, so can you
Oh.
check to see if there is somebody at headquarters that would like to make a public comment, please?
Sorry. Do we have any public requests for comments in HQ?
You may need to elevate Matt or Macaulay in order to get those feedback. That feedback. Sorry, my words aren't working either this morning, Jovita.
Oh, I not that I want somebody on my side, but oh goodness.
Okay, Macaulay, are there any members of the public that would like to make public comment in that location?
No, we do not have any public members that would like to make a comment.
Thank you.
Committee Chair Dominguez, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Vice President Mary Fagan
Mary Fagan, yes.
and President Dolores Trujillo
Yes.
and Trisha Wynn.
Yes.
Motion carries. This brings us to 8.4.
Thank you very much. Discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend approval, acceptance, or other action for approved nursing programs. We have two items under this area today. One is continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing program, and the other is discussion and possible action on whether to recommend approval of requested clinical practice experience for nurse practitioner students enrolled in non-California-based nurse practitioner education programs. So the BRN staff have received and reviewed all documents from all the program requests listed in 8.4. Information on these requests is on the lists that are provided in your material packets. The programs have met all board rules and regulations related to the request and our consent agenda items. Thank you.
Do any members have any questions or concerns?
No.
Okay, I'd like to take a motion to recommend continuing approval of pre-licensure nursing programs and approval of clinical practice experience required for nurse practitioner students enrolled in non-California based nurse practitioner education programs. Do I have a second?
I'll second. That's Mary.
Mary, thank you, Mary. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment? Thank you.
Before doing that, this is Reza. I just want to be clear. Are we looking at 8.4.12 through 8.4.15?
Yes, and I believe the members,
Well, wait a second. We're working on 8.4.1 through 8.4.15. So 8.4.1 through 8.44 and 11 are all continuing approval for pre-licensure programs who are in compliance. And then 8.4.12 through 8.4.15 are all the out-of-state NP programs who have students doing their practicum in California.
Okay, thank you.
thank you, Reza, for making it clear. Are all the members, Mary, you are seconding that, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, Mary.
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, I would like to make a comment. Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, I would like to make a comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in the Sacramento HQ? I will take that as a no.
Hang on one second.
Oh.
Macaulay, are you able to respond?
Sorry, it's going to echo. We do not have any public comments.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Vice President Mary Fagan,
Mary Fagan, yes.
President Dolores Trujillo,
Yes.
and Tricia Nguyen.
Yes.
Motion carries. 8.5, please.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 8.5, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for approved nursing programs. 8.5.1 is California State University San Marcos Baccalaureate Degree Program. Information on this program can be found in your packet starting on page 71. Board moderator, would you please elevate the presenters from San Marcos? A regularly scheduled continuing approval visit for California State University San Marcos was completed on September 10th through September of 2023. The program was found to be in non-compliance with 7 areas and 6 related areas. There were no recommendations. At the time of this meeting, the program has come into compliance with 4 of the 7 non-compliances and 2 of the 6 related non-compliances. They still have 3 areas of non-compliance and 4 areas of related non-compliance that they're working on to come into full compliance. The agenda item summary and the program's response is on pages 71 through 78. And the program representatives are here should you have any questions. Thank you.
This is Jovita. How much time do you need for your school to be in compliance with the other 3 non-compliance issues?
Well, there's 3 and 4, so there'll be 7 total. Wendy, are you able to unmute and speak?
Yes, thank you. Thank you
Wendy.
for inviting me to present this morning. So yes, and I will say that my NEC, Heather Hunter, has worked hand in glove with us to bring all of these deficiencies current. The one that I am proud of accomplishing is, which yet the board will not see, is that we have found a pathway to meet the requirement for military credit for prior learning to bring members, veterans into the nursing program. And we are just finishing up our process for those applications, and we are anticipating that we will be able to open that program for veterans in the fall of 24. So we will be in compliance at that point with that one. The other ones that I am aware of are some issues with MOUs with some of our clinical partners and with the completion of the EDP 18 forms. And I would assume that the board knows of the obstacles that get in our way to get those forms completed. The most recent report of all MOUs and EDP 18s was sent to Heather yesterday, and barring any minor glitches, I think all those will be brought into compliance I would hope by the end of February, that should all be taken care of. Part of it is the university contracting process as well, particularly with one of our agencies. But we are working on that, and I expect that to be resolved. Honestly, I am not looking at what you are probably looking at to know what the third thing is, although, so can you tell me what it is? I'm not sure what the third one would be.
Well, there are three things that you're still working on, and the other four are related. Yes, we can look in your materials and look that up.
Yeah, I'm not
Lori,
sure
do you
what
have that? Do you have that in front of you? I can pull it up, but I do not.
Because I do not have, I don't have that from Heather. I don't see it at any rate.
Yeah, Wendy, the ones that you talked about are the actual ones. And so 1418 is the military education experience. So you said that should be up and running and completed in the fall. And then 1427, there's two sections. It's A and C. And A was not using any clinical facility without prior approval by the board. And then, so that's your 18s. And then the other one is the maintain the written agreements. And those are the MOUs. So by correcting those, your contracts and your 18s for approval and correcting the military, those would bring you into compliance. And so what it sounds like to me is that you would be complete and ready to go by fall. And so Jovita, if you were looking to make a motion, you could defer taking any action on the continuing approval aspect because you want to give them time to come in. Just to be kind of nice and allow for some leeway. We do typically allow for 1 year. So that they're not rushing, trying to get everything completed and getting back to a board meeting, say the November board meeting, because that would have them at ELC in October, which would mean all documentation and stuff would have to come in like August or September to our NECs. So if you give them that kind of ability to have that flexibility, we would just return them to the board next January, February. And if at any point they come into compliance prior to that on some of the consent agenda items that you saw that went through the board, the committee earlier, those were continuing approval ones. As soon as these schools bring themselves into total compliance, the NEC will put them on that table. And then you guys will know that they're in compliance and they then receive a 5-year continuing approval, or if they're accredited, it aligns with their continuing approval of the accreditation, which could be 8 years or up to 10 years with an interim report to our NECs.
I would like that. How would I word that, Lori?
Just follow the motion.
Can you see the possible motion?
Where you do.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Deferring action.
I know it must be hard on your phone, but thank you.
Yeah.
And then the one below that where it says a possible additional motion would be to recommend quarterly reports to NEC return to board. So if you combine both of those, you should be set, Jovita.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. So I would, does any of the board members have any questions before
I have a very quick question.
Trisha?
First of all, I really want to compliment CSU San Marcos for, working so hard to come into compliance. And, I really appreciate NECs working so closely with these nursing programs to make sure we're offering students the best possible education. I was pleased to see that your NCLEX rates have remained high, in spite of some hiccups. I did just wonder why last year there was such a high attrition rate. You went from very small to like 9%, and I just wondered what had happened there.
Oh, I would love to address that. And honestly, that is probably at the top of my list for looking at my program improvement for the coming years. And this will not be an easy fix. I track NCLEX rates, of course, along with my attrition rates, and I've done that for years. And about 5 years ago, this is going to be a little bit of a long explanation. I'll try to make it quick. The university required us to reduce our programs to 120 units across the board for all undergraduate programs. Prior to that, we had a 5-year program. Students came in and came in as pre-nursing majors. They had their junior or their freshman and sophomore years to do prerequisites, and then they applied to the School of Nursing. So they had a couple of years of college under their belts when they applied to nursing. With the change to the 120 units, we had to go to 4 years. I was not part of the decisions as to how that change was designed or the curriculum that followed. However, when I looked at the attrition rates, I looked at the cohorts that were admitted with this new admit as freshmen, which is challenging. They come right into nursing. They don't have any college under their belt when they come in. And when I looked at the comparison of the 2 cohorts who now have been admitted in that way, those are the ones that dropped. And I will be totally transparent with the board that it's not 9%, it's 17% in those 2 cohorts, which is entirely unacceptable. And in conversations with my faculty and some focus groups, we believe that when I look at why students left, because we track that as well, we know exactly why people are not here. Most of them are withdrawing because they don't want to be nurses. And they seem to come into this out of high school with this, I don't know, idea of what nursing is. And then they get into it and they're like, oh gosh, I don't want to work this hard, or I don't want to do this. I guess I really don't want to be a nurse. Let me go do something else. So I have talked to my dean, and we'll be working with a member of the dean's kind of group that is looking at how we are addressing attrition across the board. But I would like to change the program to be a 2x2 so that students come in as freshmen to and it would probably be a pre-health major to support the other programs in our college. And those first 2 years, we would be able to provide career counseling, provide more information about what you do as a nurse, what you would do with a human development degree or public health degree or some of the other degrees in our college, and then have them do admission applications to the nursing school in their sophomore year, where then we also would be able to perhaps do interviews. So I really do believe that that attrition rate is related to young students not knowing for sure what nursing even is, or what the jobs are, or what other opportunities there would be. So will be meeting this semester with that representative from the dean's office to craft what this would look like, because this plan would affect the other units in our college, and want to be mindful of supporting those programs as well. So that was a long explanation. I hope that answered your question.
Well, thank you for giving your perspective.
It did answer my question, and it was also very educational. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Any other members have any questions or concerns?
I would just like to clarify that that was for my traditional students, my TBSN program. My ABSN program, the attrition rate has pretty much stayed the same. Those are, of course, older students. They've been to college before. They come back to nursing with intention to be nurses, with some maturity to their professional trajectory. So it's really those TBSN students who have pulled down the overall average.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to recommend quarterly reports to the NEC and return to ELC board in 1 year. Do I have a second?
Jovita, could you start at the top where it says motion to recommend?
Yes.
Because we have to defer status, and then you can add the quarterly reports. Thank you.
Thank you. So Marianne, not
So the top part where it says motion to recommend, deferring taking action on continuing approval status.
Thank you, Marianne.
Sure, of course.
I have to take my glasses off. So that's a little disability there. I would like to make a motion to recommend deferring taking action on a continuing approval status for California State University San Marcos baccalaureate degree nursing program while they work on to clear their areas of non-compliance and request recommend quarterly reports to the NEC and return to the ELC board in 1 year. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Dolores. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in the Sacramento HQ?
No request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I'd like to take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Vice President Mary Fagan.
Mary Fagan, yes.
President Dolores Trujillo.
Yes.
And Tricia Nguyen.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 8.5.2, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for an approved nursing program. This is Vanguard University Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program. Their information starts on page 79. And board moderator, if you would please elevate the presenters on the list for Vanguard. Vanguard also had a continuing approval visit for their baccalaureate degree nursing program in September of 2023. The program was found to be non-compliant in 5 areas. I do want to make a quick correction on page 80, which is where the agenda item summary, we have some numbers that I just want to update because it looks like they're not correct. So for the NCLEX pass rates, which are toward the middle of page 80, everything's correct except 2020 and 2021 should be 91%. And then 21 to 22, they fell to 67%. And then 22 to 23, they bounced back up to 80%. And then for the attrition rates, those should be 1920 is correct. 2021 should be 3.9%, and 21-22 should be 9.4%. So they had a better attrition rate than what was reported there. Again, the agenda item summary and the program's response are on pages 79 through 86. And we do have representatives from Vanguard here, should you have any questions. They're in these 4 schools that we're looking at now have had a continuing approval visit and are here today because they were not in full compliance, and they will be working toward that moving forward. Thank you.
Any questions from the members?
A comment. I am delighted to hear that the NCLEX rates and attrition rates were better than reported. Those were alarming to me, especially as a program that costs what this program costs. I'd love to just hear from the school.
Sure. Catherine, are you available to unmute?
Yes, I am available. And first I want to thank the board. I also want to thank our NEC Kimberly Knight for working very hard with us. So thank you. I do want to mention that, yes, it was quite alarming when the NCLEX scores went down. Part of that, as all of you know, unfortunately, COVID, the pandemic, we took a huge hit when our students could not go into the hospital. And a lot of them, well, most of them had to go to online or simulation online, including that. It was difficult for many students, not all, but several of them who did not want to go on to the online formatting. And they, in fact, they really wanted to be in clinical face-to-face, but unfortunately that was out of our hands. We have also, not only the COVID pandemic, but we instituted, and I want to give kudos to my colleagues who are on the call too, Dr. Schroeder and Dr. K, but we implemented and working alongside the BRN and ATI, we instituted a robust NCLEX policy, prep policy that includes really looking into the practice assessments, the proctored assessments, the comprehensive predictor where students cannot continue unless they pass that predictor. And let's say they fail it, they are given an incomplete, and then they have to work with virtual ATI until they are given the green light. This has happened, and it has really made a big difference with our scores. So I think that, including more simulation, etc., face-to-face has really, we're seeing an upward trend, which is what we want to see. So I hope that answers your question.
Any comments or questions from the members?
No, I would just want to comment that, the progress for the non-compliance has been written in the materials. Looks like you're well on your way to being compliant. So I would go ahead and make a motion to recommend deferring taking action on the continuing approval status for Vanguard University Baccalaureate Nursing Degree Program while they work to clear that areas of non-compliance, and to also recommend quarterly reports to the NEC and to return to the ELC board in 1 year.
And I second. Thank you, Mary. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in Sacramento HQ?
No public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. Thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Vice President Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
And President Dolores Trujillo?
Yes.
And Trisha Nguyen?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 8.5.3, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for approved nursing programs. This is Palomar College Associate Degree Nursing Program. The information about this program starts on page 87. And board moderator, if you would please elevate the presenters on the list for Palomar. So Palomar also had a continuing approval visit in September of 23, and the program was found to be in non-compliance in 2 areas. At this time of the meeting, and when the materials were due, they were now in compliance with one of those two. 1424B1 is now in compliance, and 1427C is still in progress. So they still have that one non-compliance to work on. The agenda item summary and their response were on pages 87 through 91. And the program representatives are available should you have any questions. Thank you.
I would like to hear from the school.
Julie, are you available and can you unmute?
Yes, good morning.
Hi.
Thank you for having me. So yes, we appreciate the continuing site visit and working with Kimberly Knight to get our program back into compliance. Was there a specific question or should I just address 1427C?
What would you like, Dolores?
She can go ahead and address 1427C.
So 1427C with the affiliation agreements, we've been working with our contracts person at the college as well as with a lot of our facilities. We're not aware that we needed this exact language in the contracts. So we've been working with them to get completed new contracts. It does take a little bit of time because sometimes they have to now rewrite the contract. So we do have a lot of the contracts, but we don't have all of the contracts. We have made a lot of progress, but should have the rest of the contracts probably within the next 3 months now that we're back from our break.
Okay. Thank you. So you're speculating that you might need at least 3 months, if not longer, or within 3 months?
I'm hoping within 3 months we can have all of the, we have several of the contracts, but I'm hoping that we can have all of the contracts completed with this exact language for the board.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
I'm willing to put a motion. Any other members have, before I do that, any other members have any other questions? Okay, I would like to take a motion to recommend deferring taking action on the continuing approval status for Palomar College Associate Degree in Nursing program while they can work to clear the areas of non-compliance and request quarterly reports to the NEC and return to the ELC board in 1 year. Do I have a second?
I second it, Jovita.
Thank you, Dolores. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments. Do we have any public requests for comments in the Sacramento HQ?
No public comments in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Vice President Mary Fagan?
Mary Fagan, yes.
And President Trujillo?
Yes.
And Tricia Nguyen?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 8.5.4, discussion and possible action regarding whether to recommend continuing approval or other action for an approved nursing program. This is Solano College Associate Degree Nursing Program. Their information is found starting on page 92 of your packet, and board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list for Solano. A regularly scheduled continuing approval visit for Solano Community College Associate Degree Nursing Program was completed in November of 2023. And the program was found to be in non-compliance in 4 areas. And if you look at page 92 of the packet, you can see the 4 non-compliances listed there. And then you can also see progress to date, and Solano has also spoken to their progress and their plans in their executive summary. The summary, like I said, and their information is from 92 to 96, and the representatives are here should you have any questions. Thank you. Committee, would you like to hear from the program?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Mari, are you available and can unmute? There she is. Can you unmute, Mari?
Am I unmuted now?
You are. Great job. If you would just speak to where you are.
I'm Maura Mornick, and I'm the program director at Solano. We did have multiple areas of non-compliance. We have resolved the area for faculty non-compliance, that instructor is no longer teaching in a required course for the nursing program. Our district has worked very hard from the time of our visit until the start of the spring semester to obtain PEDS clinical placements, and we will be at UCSF Oakland Children's Hospital, as well as working with the school nurses with one of our districts, going out to multiple sites so that the students will get their minimum of 30 hours of pediatric clinical. Our areas of the area regarding clinical sites, we're still working on making sure that we have all updated contracts and approvals. We plan to send those in by the end of February at the very latest. And then I think the area of total program evaluation was resolved before this meeting.
Thank you.
Any other members have any more questions or concerns?
I would like to know, what is the mountain measures?
Mountain Measures gives and collects reports that lets programs know where their students are doing well and in what areas they're potentially not doing well in.
Thank you.
I can elaborate a little bit more on that, Dolores. NCSBN that does the next-gen NCLEX and the prior NCLEX through Pearson VUE, whenever a student takes that exam, they know exactly where they excelled and where they needed some additional assistance. Those reports are available to all schools. All schools can purchase them. It is a cost, but it tells them exactly which areas their students are doing well in and which ones they need some work on. It's really helpful when those schools utilize those types of reports. So they bring it back to faculty meetings, they have discussions with their content expert, and they say, you know, we might have a 75% pass rate for first-time test takers where the majority of our students are doing amazingly well, but it's still 75%, it's not 100%, right? You're always aiming for that 100% pass rate. And so they can take reports similar to those and look at them, bring them back to faculty meetings, and they could revamp their curriculum. They could look at their PowerPoints or any of their lab clinical focus and stuff and just redirect and say, okay, we're really strong in this area, but we need to improve in this area. And that way, that faculty alignment, those program alignments then go down and help the student to become successful.
Thanks, Lori.
Any other questions?
No.
I'd like to take a motion to recommend deferring taking action on the continuing approval status for Solano Solano College Associate Degree Nursing Program while they work on to clear their areas of non-compliance and request quarterly reports to the NEC and return to ELC board in 1 year. Do I have a second?
I'll second that. Thanks, Sovita.
Is that Tricia?
Yes, Tricia, thank you.
Thank you. BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no public requests for comments in the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in the Sacramento HQ?
No request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. Vice President Mary Fagan,
Mary Fagan, yes.
President Dolores Trujillo,
Yes.
and Tricia Nguyen.
Yes,
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 8.6, discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of substantive changes to approved nursing programs. There's 2 of them, and I just want to mention that they're both of these requests are for the Fresno, California area in the Central Valley. Okay, starting with 8.6.1, Unitech College Baccalaureate Degree Nursing Program, requesting an enrollment increase in the Fremont campus, which is one of their campuses, with the students will be in Fresno, California. So Unitech has had a BRN approved nursing program, starting with an ADN program in Fremont since 2007. And on the top of their data sheet on page 100 in the materials, you can see the list of, at the top of the things that have been done during the past 5 years. These are all their requests and what has come forward in the last 5 years. And so in 2019, they taught out the ADN program at Fremont and started a BSN program, and all of these were approved. In 2019, they also opened a secondary campus in Bakersfield. In 2020, they opened a 3rd site in Concord. In 2021, they opened a 4th site in Sacramento. In 2022, they had an enrollment increase in Bakersfield, partnering with Cahuilla Health and Sierra View Hospitals. And in 2023, they had an enrollment increase in Bakersfield, partnering with Community Health Systems in Fresno. All current programs right now are all BSN, and today they are looking at requesting to restart that ADN program at the Fremont campus in a partnership again with Community Health Systems in Fresno. The proposed enrollment increase represents a total of 25 new students enrolling twice a year for a total of 50 new students annually to directly support Community Health Systems in Fresno. This will bring their total enrollment at the Fremont campus from 160 BSN only students to now 210 combined students. 160 would be the BSN and 50 would be the ADN annually. They're proposing to start in April of 2024. And again, just please note that there's 2 agenda items that are in Fresno today. Mm-hmm. The agenda item summary is between pages 96 and 106. And there's representatives from the program here to answer any questions. Thank you.
I hope, this is Tricia, I do hope that we will hear both items before we, take one up, because I do think we really have to look at the overall impact of the Fresno area. And Marianne, I'm hoping that before we do that, you might give us an idea of, how impacted some of those facilities are, just to make sure that the students get the clinical placements that they need to thrive.
So Tricia, real quick, we can open up the public comment right now on 8.6.1. And I know that there are several people in the attendees that are program directors. So my assumption is that they are probably here to speak on at least one or both of these items. The other one that I do want to kind of point out to you and other members on is in the materials, Dr. Mary McCarthy was pointing to page 100. In that, you can see the enrollment decisions for Region 6 over the past years. You can see that there has been a growth of 960 new students into that area that the board
Sorry, Lori, I think it's 980. My apologies.
Sorry, 980. And that it totally says 980, and I just read it.
That's okay, no worries.
And so it does also go down and let you know the various colleges and universities that the board did approve. Now, in the executive summary that is submitted by the college or the university immediately follows that. And they do have a statement in there that talks about availability of clinical education. And this specific request is actually requesting an enrollment increase to one facility only. So they're looking at the community health systems. They have a contract that it looks like that they've done with just community health systems. And what our board has done in the past is approve an enrollment increase specific for this contract that they have. And if that contract with the community health systems expires, they go back to their prior enrollment numbers. And the approval then is just based on that specific request. And so if the board or committee chooses to consider this, they're looking at increasing their numbers of 50 new students annually. Those 50 new students would only be approved by this committee if you choose to kind of follow what we've done in the past year, to only have clinicals with the community health systems. And that way it doesn't affect the other locations in that area. And if that contract expires, then they go back to their prior one. That is different than the next agenda item. The next agenda item is a new campus location that is moving into an area, and there is additional information on that. But just so to help you guys understand the differences of these two requests, so that if and when we do open it up to public comment, you might understand more what's kind of being said. So hopefully that was helpful.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
And Ms. Melody or Marianne, if possible, I can explain about the contract we have, if you need.
I think
the member wanted to go to public comment.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that we address that first. Or Tricia, are you still wanting to go to public comment first before we hear anything more? Or do you want
No,
to
I really just wanted to go to public comment on the items combined before we took a vote on either item. That was my request, but I might not have stated that clearly.
Okay, so you're okay to hear from the school at this particular moment. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Abdel.
Thank you, Dr. McCarthy. So as Ms. Melby mentioned, this agreement with Community Health Hospital, it's a 7 years agreement. Community Health Hospital has 560 immediate RN opening, and there are the turnover over 600 nurses in 2022, and there will be about 180 nurses are at the retirement age and will retire within the next 5 years. So what we're asking is within this agreement to start 2 cohorts, 25 each, and those cohorts will be mostly employee of the hospital that they're at a different level of practice, or maybe a medical secretary or some other staff who would like to become an RN and work with that hospital. So all the clinical facility and the working clinical will be within the hospital system. They already have set a skills lab and a simulation lab, and Dr. Marianne McCarthy visited the lab. We have our academic leader on site running the program and making sure we hire faculty and run our own curriculum. So basically, this program is meant for the need for this community health system. And one thing about the ADN that's different than the BSN, it's most affordable, because with the tuition, this scholarship we give and the employer support, this ADN program can go as low as $29,000 for a nurse, for a student to become an RN. And also because we have so many applicants who have done all the education, the general ed and the science, they will only need 1 year to graduate and join the workforce. And therefore, we ask for this ADN. With this ADN, we offer it, as Dr. Marianne McCarthy mentioned, many years in Fremont, and we had a great outcome last year was 89, the year before was 90 pass rate. We have a great retention rate. So far, our partnership with Community Health, our BSN students there, they're at 100% retention because they're supported by the community health leaders, nurses, and us and our faculty, and they live within the community. They will stay in the community. So the plan is to strengthen the community from within. We work with clinical leaders in the area. We work with the consortium to make sure, and with the CNO for community health, and Ms. Heather, she's on the public comment, ready to speak about her clinical needs and how she's going to accommodate our students' rotation without affecting any pre-existing rotations for other programs, because this is not exclusive to us. They will continue providing clinical placement for the students from other schools and still accommodate our students with our, evening, night, and weekend shifts clinical. We're working diligently with everybody in the community to support our students without impacting others. And as Ms. Malaby said, this agreement is 5 years. If the agreement gets canceled, we will not use these seats for any other location. The seats will be canceled. So it's only more of a model for academic practice model meant to support the need of that specific hospital.
Abdel?
Yes.
Did you clarify for me whether the contract is 5 years or 7 years?
7 years.
7 is the contract? Okay.
Yes.
And then quickly to the committee members, this is an enrollment increase request, and although he is speaking about workforce need, our committee as well as our board cannot take that into consideration. It goes back again to Business Professions Code 2786.2, and it says that when considering a request to increase enrollment, the board may only consider the following factors related to the ability to adequately train additional students: adequacy of resources, including but not limited to faculty, facilities, equipments, and supplies, availability of clinical placements, complaints that have been verified by the board from students, faculty, or other interested parties, and licensing exam pass rates, graduation rates, and retention rates. So just a quick reminder again, before you guys go in and continue to have conversations and hear from the public, et cetera.
I have a question. Are your students able to do all of their clinical rotations with Community Health System, including pediatrics and psych and OBGYN, or is all of those services available?
Yes, because the healthcare system is, as a hospital system, is big enough to accommodate all the courses requirements to meet the clinical objectives, and that's why their need is huge, because they have so diversity, different kind of level of acuity, and so they have mental health facility, They have outpatient, inpatient. So we give the students the variety and the quality of a clinical experience.
Good, thank you.
Thank
Any
you,
members?
Mr. Youssef. I would like to hear from public comment at this time.
Thank you.
BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request for comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give a reminder as your time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Marie Gilbert would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Dr. Marie Gilbert. I'm the director at the Central California Center for Excellence in Nursing. Just a bit of background, the center was established in 2006 and is committed to addressing the region's critical nursing shortage through collaboration with clinical and academic partners. All nursing programs in the Central Valley, as you're aware, are planning expansion. Therefore, to promote equity and quality clinical learning experience for all nursing students, our Regional Academic Service Partnership has adopted processes that promote data-informed decisions regarding clinical capacity for program expansions. At our regional meetings, Unitec have presented specific information detailing what days, what shifts, and locations their students will be placed. In specialties where clinical placements are at or above capacity, in particular pediatrics and behavioral health, they have provided details of how these direct patient care hours will be achieved, aligning with their program outcomes, and specific details regarding how this will be achieved without displacing other programs. Unitec and Community Medical Systems have both been and continue to be engaged and active partners in the Central San Joaquin Valley Clinical Education Collaborative, which is our regional academic partnership. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Heather Rodriguez would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Oops. Sorry, Heather, 1 second.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
Okay. All right, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sorry about that.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. Hi, Heather Rodriguez, the Chief Nursing Officer for Fresno Heart and Surgical Hospital and our post-acute facilities here at Community Health Systems. Thank you. I appreciate you hearing this request. What I'll jump into, what I think is the concern is for clinical rotations, and we are committed to, as we have been for decades, to supporting our current nursing schools around us that have been working with community health systems for, again, years and years. We are looking at other alternatives such as nights and weekends for our clinical exposure and experience for our students, and again, have plenty of opportunity there. That's a very, I would say, the least tapped into opportunities from our other schools. So we will be looking to, again, not at all, I would say, getting to capacity or at all denying any requests for clinicals that we have been currently in for the past. We are looking at other opportunities for our staff members and to support them. Any questions for me?
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in Sacramento HQ?
No request for public comment in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, thank you. Members, what would you, do you have any suggestions or?
I'm impressed with this request, but I would like to hear how it correlates with the next item. So I'm wondering if we could just move to the next item and then come back for a motion here, if that makes sense to the committee.
Lori, is that acceptable?
Reza?
You're gonna have to defer to Reza on that one. They're wanting to not make a motion on 8.6.1, but then hear the next one and then before making a motion, either of them come back.
No, I think that makes sense. There's some logic to that. And as far as our requirements, as long as we allow public comment at the time or prior to taking action on either of them, which we have for 8.6.1, but we can certainly move on to 8.6.2 and do the same and then come back to any further committee discussion and then taking action.
Thank you. Would you like me to move on, committee, to 8.6.2?
Yes, please.
You know, Mary Ann, this is Mary Fagan. I apologize. I have had a flight later today that was canceled and got bumped, so I have to leave the committee meeting. I'm really interested in both of these topics, but I have no choice but to get to the airport, so I know there'll still be a quorum. And I would say too that I was very impressed with Unitech's presentation and how they're able to accommodate the clinical without what appears to be a displacement. So
thank you, Mary, for your time. I know that you did your best to squeeze us in today, so I appreciate that. And yes, we do still maintain a quorum with 3 of the 4 committee members present. Thank you.
And these programs will come forward in February. Thank you, Mary. Okay, moving on to 8.6.2, discussion and possible action regarding acceptance of a substantive change to an approved nursing program. This is Samuel Merritt University, their baccalaureate degree nursing program. They are looking to add a new campus in Fresno, California. The information on this program starts on page 107 of your packet. And board moderator, if you could please elevate the presenters on the list from Samuel Merritt. So Samuel Merritt School of Nursing is requesting a substantive change again in Fresno, California. Their enrollment pattern of 48 students twice a year and an annual enrollment of 96 students. That's what they're asking for. There's a great deal of history on page 107. They are a big program, not unlike Unitech. And on 107, you'll see all the current programs they have. They have a program in Sacramento and Oakland. They have a program in San Francisco, Peninsula. I'm trying to make sure that I get them all. And this would be a campus in Fresno. They do have several different types of programs as well, a regular traditional BSN and an accelerated BSN, an entry-level master's. But this program that they want to open in Fresno would be an accelerated baccalaureate degree program. The agenda item summary, again, is on 107 through 116, and on 110 is that data sheet that we looked at a few minutes ago that Lori led you to that has Region 6 in. The only difference is that Samuel Merritt has made no requests in the last 5 years. But the bottom part, as far as what happened in Region 6 for the last 5 years, is exactly the same for Unitech as it is for Samuel Merritt. Where Unitech has made some changes in the past 5 years, Samuel Merritt hasn't. This is their first request. The program representatives are here if you have any questions. And I'm assuming you want to talk to them, so I'll be happy to bring them forward if you're ready.
I'll provide some additional information real quick.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I forgot.
Thank you. Yes, no problem. this is an interesting request as well, so I just wanted to make sure I kind of called it out. We did have a regulatory change to 16 CCR 1432 that came into effect Jan 1 of last year, so a year ago. And in that regulatory change, it updated the request for new campus location, different than what had occurred in the past. In the past, it was put forward as just a typical kind of enrollment increase request, but this is a specific for a new campus location. Because a new campus affects a new community, typically they move into a new location, they have different geographical issues that they have to address and the demographics of that area. And so it is more of an extensive approval process than an enrollment increase for a campus that is already established in that area. When updating that, it did reference a form called what we refer to as an EDP IL1, which is instructions for institutions seeking approval of a new pre-licensed or registered nursing program or addition of a new campus or location. You will see that the report written on this one varies greatly from the report previous on the enrollment increase request for Unitech, where because Unitech has an established campus in that location, Samuel Merritt does not. They would be opening a brand new location for the students to go and attend. And so they do have some other areas that the board does consider, and they bring forward this. And so this is essentially the feasibility part of that approval. And you guys are familiar with those when we look at new program approvals, correct? And so with this one here, if the board accepts this, this is acceptance of the feasibility portion of that enrollment increase. Once a new campus is ready for students, the nursing education consultant will do an additional review where they will go in and look at that new campus location and ensure that it meets all of the criteria that we have within our regulatory and statutory requirements for a school location to house a nursing program. That NEC will then take a look at that, see that it meets all the compliances, and will come back in front of the board for a final approval for that new campus location to be able to accept students. And so it is very similar process of the feasibility for a new program, simply because it is a two-step process where it is new, a non-nursing program coming in and asking for this. The difference with the new campus is this is an established nursing program. So we know that they have metrics that you guys can look at. It's just the effect of that community that it enters. And so you will see additional information on these reports that you probably haven't seen in before. And so this motion would be to accept this or not accept this. But if you accept this, this is a first step, knowing that the NEC will go and verify facilities and stuff prior to occupation of schools, of students, sorry, and it'll come back in front of the board for a final once over to ensure that everybody maintains in compliance before they can actually enroll the next the set of students into this campus. Thank you.
I'd like to hear from the school.
Stephen, are you available and can unmute?
I am. Can you hear me okay, Marianne?
Yes, thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Stephen Rush. I'm the Dean for the College of Nursing at Samuel Merritt University. And I think all of the information that was just provided is a great kind of grounding place to start the discussion. This is a new campus for us, an expansion of an existing program. So we've had an ABSN program, as was already shared, in Oakland, San Mateo, that's our San Francisco Peninsula campus is San Mateo, as well as Sacramento. I do believe that Kim Knight or somebody from the NEC department has already toured that facility, but I understand sounds like now it would have to be toured again. But that site is ready to go. It's a beautiful brand new site, beautiful simulation center. So the facilities are certainly, they're premier facilities, really. And so I know the other things that you want to talk about are clinical placement, pass rates, and those types of things. So a lot of that is in our packet, but I am certainly open to any additional or more specific questions.
What are the hospitals that you plan to contract for clinical space in
Yes.
Fresno?
Both the hospitals that we're looking at contracting with, as well as those that we know are already greatly impacted, we're going to avoid those if at all possible, such as St. Agnes and Community Regional, Clovis Medical Center, and Fresno, UCSF Fresno. We're looking at going out more into Merced, Visalia, surrounding cities, more of a larger radius for clinical placements, both community sites, VA Medical Center, Kaiser, Permanente, Fresno. We've had a long-standing, many year strong relationship with Kaiser, and they've indicated that they would like to work with us in the Fresno area as well. So those would be the main hospitals, but avoiding those that are already greatly impacted.
How about clinical space for pediatrics?
Again, those will be a lot of community practice sites, Kaiser, and wouldn't be obviously the VA, but those and community sites. We're also this is a long-standing tradition. Our students know this, as many schools, I guess, have to also adapt, is we do a lot of clinicals on evenings, weekends. We're not doing night shift clinicals at this point, but that's always a possibility if need be.
Thank you. Anyone from the board have any other questions?
I'm just wondering if it's, I feel like there's two programs, and would Fresno be able to withstand what they're asking for? And I think that the previous one is saying, was it 25 for additional, it would be twice a year. And then I think Samuel Merritt is asking for 48 to be 96. I think if I remember the numbers correct. I don't know. I definitely asked the two members that are here, what their thoughts are.
Well, those are certainly my concerns also, Jovita. Adding 150 students, into a community that is impacted right now. And I just want to make sure that we are looking at the best, the best chances of students on getting, good clinical placements and getting through their programs and, getting employment in that area. So I'm wondering, Lori, if you might help us walk through the graph that we have gotten in both of these, background information, both of the staff reports, if you can kind of help us figure out whether this area, even going into the, other communities, whether, we're doing the right thing by approving increases at this level.
Couple things. There are 2 additional letters that were submitted by schools on our website. They're in there as supplemental information for 8.6.2, where schools in Fresno and in the Lemoore or more towards the Visalia and stuff area have stated some concerns that there may be an impact. So that is an issue. I did notice some of the program directors from those on the call, so I'm unsure if they thought that the last public comment was maybe not for them. So you may additionally, Tricia, want to open up to public comment again, specifically for this agenda item, so that if they do want to speak, they can, because we do have 83 people in attendees right now. And I was, again, like I said earlier, surprised to see some of the program directors here that do match the letters that were submitted. When you look at any of the information that we give you, it's a snapshot. There's nothing that is all inclusive, just so that everybody is aware. On our board's website, there is from the homepage an interactive dashboard. You can sort that by region. So if you were to go into that on the BRN School Interactive Dashboard, you could scroll over and look at those specific areas and those areas that you would be taking a more close look at would be your Northern California area and your Northern Sacramento Valley area, as well as potentially your Greater Sacramento and San Joaquin, because we know that in those areas, there is kind of, when you go into the more of the rural areas, there's less resources to support. And there are some schools in there already, so there may be some effect. What I did notice with the letters that were sent was not that they're saying deny it outright. Their concern was they wanted to make sure that the school reached out to the appropriate school members. They were saying that potentially the school nursing program administrators weren't really contacted thoroughly, or that the consortium that they use, that they're maybe not a member of, or maybe not have access to that. So they're asking the schools that have reached out via those 2 letters are just asking for more time to continue to work with Samuel Merritt so that there can be an assurance in that area for clinical placements and to not have that. And just to kind of refer back to that document that I was referencing, because of this new process, there is a specific area in that document that says clinical placements of the program must take into consideration the impact on the use of the clinical facility by existing pre-licensed or registered nursing programs, and must be coordinated with any process for clinical placements, such as a consortium for regional planning, including a description of your collaboration and coordination efforts with any existing registered nursing programs in the regional planning consortium. So that was submitted with the document that is in the executive summary. Samuel Merritt did outline that. And based on that, we did receive some feedback. And so my recommendation at this point, Tricia, would be open up to public comment again, so that if the people in the area want to actually speak to direct impact, they could, or what they're actually requesting from us.
Yeah, thank you. I'd be very supportive of that.
I am too.
So Tricia and Dolores, then we'll take it to public comment. So the others.
Yeah, one more time.
Okay, BRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be opening for public comment now. Please refer to the screen share for members of the public to see how they should type in their request or comment. I've activated the question and answer feature. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by typing into the question box, "I would like to make a comment." Please remember, you will have 2 minutes to make your comments. I will not give reminders as time approaches. I do not want to interrupt you nor cause you to lose your train of thought. I will mute your microphone and inform you that your time has expired, and we'll move on to the next member of the public. I'll pause for a moment for members of the public to type in, "I would like to make a comment." Marie Gilbert would like to make a comment. 1 second, please.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Good morning. Again, this is Dr. Marie Gilbert from the Central California Center for Excellence in Nursing, and I work very closely with our academic service partnerships, the Central San Joaquin Valley Clinical Education Collaborative. So I did submit a letter, so there's much more detail in that than the 2 minutes. But I request that at this time, the ELC defer approval of Samuel Merritt's request. Samuel Merritt did attend our academic service partnership meeting to provide information regarding their program that they want to open in Fresno. And at our meeting and in the proposal, there is a lack of information regarding where clinical placements will be completed. Now, Samuel Merritt has definitely demonstrated goodwill by stating they will not use common Fresno clinical sites and instead use sites in the South Valley. However, as has been discussed, it's important to note that South Valley nursing programs such as College of the Sequoias, Porterville College, Unitech at both Quia Delta and Sierra, View and also West Hills and Lemoore have expanded enrollment, and that clinical placement availability in that region is now significantly impacted. As an academic service partnership, we understand the need to increase enrollment and expand the nursing workforce pipeline in our underserved area. And we believe that with careful, collaborative, and transparent planning, this can be achieved. We have an operations manual, we've put systems and processes in place now so that our information's around capacity are data informed. By deferring approval of Samuel Merritt's request, it will provide the opportunity for Samuel Merritt to work more closely with all of the programs. They did mention 3 in their request, but there are many more than that in the region, and more closely identify where their students will complete their clinical hours. And this will promote the success not only of their program, but also allow other programs in our region to maintain and expand their enrollment. Thank you for the opportunity for comment.
Thank you for your comment. Belen Kirsten would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Okay, I will come back. Catherine DeFeed would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Catherine, go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, perfect, great. Thank you for the opportunity. I am the Director of Nursing at West Hills College Lemoore, and I also did submit a letter alongside Dr. Gilbert, and she really actually summed up the situation very well with her comment. I think I just wanted to mention that, you know, we are a very collaborative group, and we have been since the pandemic. There's no way, I don't think we could have made it through without our academic partnerships and industry partners working together to get us through that period of time. So when our industry talks to us about expanding or needing additional nurses and all of the different ways that we can make that happen, we want to support that. So for us, having a collaborative, transparent conversation with new schools that come, we do have the new operation manual with some procedures in place. We would like to be able to come to these meetings and be able to speak on the data that we have access to through our CCPS, through the foundation that supports that, to be able to say, yes, we can adequately work with these folks. Is it going to be difficult? Absolutely. Are we having challenges and being displaced here and there? Yes, we are, but we can also then call up each other and work out those displacements. I'm hopeful that with these new schools that may be coming, we know we can't stop everything. We have to work with everyone. We can learn something new, potentially some new educational strategies, we hope, because the way that we all operate now probably is not going to be sustainable for the future as we continue to move in this direction. So the request is to have SMU come back to our group to have further discussions for clinical placements and go through the process so we can be supportive of this new school in the area, if possible. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Belen Kirsten would like to make a comment. 1 second, please. Go ahead.
I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak. I live in Visalia, and our program is in Visalia, California. And looking at the proposal from Samuel Merritt, they're saying that they may go to Visalia. We increased our program at the request of the hospitals from 40 to 80 just this past semester. Also, SJVC, which is San Joaquin Valley College, increased their program by 36 more students. So they too doubled. I'm just concerned as to where we are going to place all these students in Visalia. I want to thank you for allowing me to voice my concern. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comment. Committee Chair Dominguez, there are no other public requests for comments on the WebEx. Do we have any public requests for comments in the Sacramento HQ?
No public requests for comments in Sacramento.
Thank you. Committee Chair Dominguez, would you like me to close this window?
Yes, please. What are Tricia and Dolores, what are your thoughts?
I'm wondering if we should take this to board.
You were reading my mind. I feel like we need we need, you know, the full board to consider this. And I mean, I've been in the Fresno area, and I know all those, there's some of those colleges that have been in that area for many years, but I don't know if they can handle an additional a little bit less than 150 more students from 2 other colleges, or 1 existing college and 1 wanting to come in.
Jovita, if I could just state that I have both program directors wanting to have the opportunity to speak one more time after public comment, if that's okay with you guys.
Yes.
So we would have to elevate Unitech, the presenters from Unitech, and we already have the presenters from Samuel Merritt. But if it's okay with you, they would each like to, if that's okay with you and Reza, I should say, if it's legally okay, they would both like the opportunity to talk.
While we're elevating them, and I would love to hear from them in light of this conversation and in light of the public comment. You know, I have the same concerns that my committee members have shared, you know, just pouring a lot of new students into an area that is already impacted. I think the first program, Unitech, you know, coming in with agreements in place, and we can say those students really need to stay in the place, you know, in the places that we, you know, were agreed upon within a contract, and, you know, we can make it conditional. You know, that seems to me a much easier vote than the second. And I think maybe with another month for, you know, staff and these programs to look at, you know, where we might put another 100 students would be beneficial. So I would, you know, I'm inclined to go along with Dolores's suggestion right now, but I would love to hear from each of the programs one more time.
I just wish to clarify what I said. I meant to say the next ELC meeting. So we have committee meeting in March, correct?
Thank you. So yeah, thank you, Dolores. I was actually going to kind of talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
So just procedure wise, before we go on, just want to kind of cover some options real quick. There are 2 schools, so we will have to take 2 motions. We will make a motion specific for Unitech and a motion specific for Samuel Merritt. I did essentially want to clarify if it was Samuel Merritt that we were postponing to board, yes, or now ELC, or if it was Unitech as well. So I just want to make sure that when we are making motions or making recommendations that we do clarify if it's both one or the other. Additionally, and Dolores, I think you picked up on that. Board is next month, and just so I can talk to you about my staff work. If we're going to be getting information from the schools for updated information, that is some work that our NECs will have to do, and they have to go through and gather information. They'll have to probably rewrite some reports and include that with our requirement for getting my approval, legal approval, getting it posted to our web and stuff in time for the board meeting. 1 month may not be sufficient. And so I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. And so Dolores, to answer your question, we have board in February. We do not have a meeting in March. We do have ELC in April. So if you wanted them to come back, and I say them as I'm assuming it's Samuel Merritt, to come back, that would be the next ELC, which is right now scheduled for April. You guys would hear it here in the committee with the updated information, and then it could go to board after that. Or as Tricia was recommending, it could go to full board next month. It absolutely can, but I wanted to give you guys that information, but I wanted to kind of protect my staff a little bit on the timing, just so you guys knew what goes on behind the scenes before it comes forward. And then just as you're bringing in both program directors to talk, as the committee here decides, please make 2 separate motions, 1 motion for Unitech, 1 motion for Samuel Merritt, please. And if we need to back the PowerPoint up so you can get to Unitech first, we'd be happy to do that. And then we'll go in sequence to Samuel Merritt. And then we've already heard public comment on both, but if we do need another public comment period, we can do that as well. Thank you.
So I understand that both of the schools have been elevated and wanted to make remarks. Okay.
Would you like to start with Unitech or Samuel Merritt?
Unitech.
Okay, Unitech. Joseph, would you like to make your statement? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. McCarthy. I just want to say that as Ms. Melby said, that our program is unique in a way that we already have an agreement with a clinical partner that have the ability to accommodate all our clinical rotations. And we have went to the consortium and we did our due diligence. And it's as evident in the public comment section, when you open it after our request, the consortium leaders as well as our clinical partner stated support for our request. And no other comment came forward concern our partnership because of our way of coming to a community, how we partner with the community, and how we support the community. Now, the second request is a totally different request by a different school and different approach. And of course, each school has their own way of communicating with partners in the community. But when we talk about Unitech request, committee members, you were stated that you're impressed with the model we have created over the years and the success we have achieved over the years without impacting schools. No schools or nobody came in our public comment section sharing any concerns. So I think us as like the 2 requests getting bundled together and pushed to another meeting, I'm not sure if that is appropriate or fair or actually legally right, because we have the support of the community, we have the support of the consortium, and we have done our due diligence, and we already want to start a class in April. If you push us to the next meeting, where I don't see any reason to push us, because we secured clinical with the clinical partners within the agreement, and as we stated, if this agreement gets expired or canceled, we will eliminate those seats. So we're very focused, laser focused on a very specific project. And of course, the other request is totally different nature. We already have a program, we already have an agreement with these clinical partners, and we came into the community and partnered with them. So what my request is to completely separate the 2 requests and to take, a decision at our request because of the time. And if you push us to the next ELC or the next board, we won't be able to start the April start while, everybody is lined up with a clinical rotation secured, faculty assignment secured. So I do respect that you take that separate item and take with that approach. And I'm ready to answer any question related to Unitech. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdel. Did you want to hear from Samuel Merritt as well?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Stephen?
Hi, everyone. I don't have any specific additional comments to make. I guess I need a little more clarification, which would be helpful. It sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, really the major concerns are about clinical placement. It's not necessarily facilities or NCLEX pass rates, which I think we are, doing fantastic in those 2 areas. As far as clinical placements, if we were to be pushed to the board meeting, which is next month, I'm not sure we can certainly try to get those agreements in place and but I think maybe the next ELC would be a better timing for us. I'm relatively, well, I won't even say relatively new. I'm brand new to this role. So I've not had the opportunity to meet the folks from the consortium or Dr. Gilbert or any of those folks, and certainly look forward to doing that and establishing those relationships. But if it's, I just wanted to clarify that this would be pushed to the next ELC, which you said was in April. Is that correct?
Yes.
And if I
April is the ELC and May would be the board meeting if they defer making this decision until then.
Okay. And certainly if anybody has additional questions, I'm open for those.
And we'll certainly help you get in touch with the consortium, and Dr. Gilbert is very well versed in who else you would need to communicate with.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mary Ann, can I speak a little bit as well? Brian Clarkson, Provost at Samuel Merritt.
Samuel Merritt, correct, Brian?
Correct, yeah. And thank you all. This has been a very robust conversation. Appreciate the conversation and recognize clinical placements everywhere is a concern. I think we heard earlier today in the first round of public comment from Ms. Rodriguez that there may be plenty of placements if we consider nights and weekends and look at other opportunities for students, which we've utilized at our other campuses as well, and would be committed to that. I do want to echo Adele's comment that I hope that our being here does not delay their decision as they had presented and thinking about what they do. And we're looking at, although they're both pre-licensure students, kind of a net difference in the type of students that would be recruited to be in these programs and moving forward. And so, as Steve mentioned earlier, we have laid the foundation for wonderful partnerships with hospital systems, with clinical placements. We're in a bit of a catch-22 of how much do we lay in the grounds before we have confirmation that we can actually bring students in. And so we've committed to a facility that we've had up and ready for the last couple of years. We've been working through the approval process here. And with every delay in the timing of approval for new cohorts, we see that additional cohorts at other institutions have been approved. And so I think the mention of 980 new students in the area in recent years, my concern with the delay in approving this request from Samuel Merritt is that, again, there might be additional approvals before we come back before this body and moving forward. So committed to working closely with the regional partners, working closely with the consortium, thinking about expanding the footprint of clinical footprint that we have both north and south of Fresno, and also expanding into nights and weekends, which are typically underutilized in our hospital systems. So again, thank you for this robust conversation and the consideration.
And Brian, just to clarify for you, that was a very good thought about whether or not somebody could get in between. So the process, if we go through our general process, is that you have to come to the Education Licensing Committee and then go to the board. So the only people on this agenda currently who are asking for an enrollment increase or a secondary site is yourself and Unitech. So at the most, it would be Unitech's 50 students that would be added to that list that we have on the data. And then you would come back in April, May, with any other programs that would be asking in the future, but you would be with the next group. Nobody else except Unitech would be on the list as being approved in between, just for clarity. And I also think you make a very good point that you have an accelerated bachelor's program. Unitech is looking at an associate degree program. And there was discussion earlier about the differences in accelerated, meaning having experience when they come into the program. So just as comments for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Marian.
Well, I would really just like to thank both of these organizations so much for just being so open to, you know, what our concerns are and being willing to work with us on it. I just really appreciate your attitude.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right.
So how would we like to move forward? Do we want to go back to
I
6.1?
would be willing to support a motion on Unitech to move forward, but I would like to tie it conditionally to the 7-year contract, which they have discussed, where their placements will be, with their, contracting entity.
Okay. Are you able to see the screen, Tricia?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion and then, I'm sorry, go ahead,
Sure,
Lori.
I would
Before
move
you
that we
make-
recommend, I'm sorry?
This is
wanted
Jovita.
Yeah.
Tricia, I'm just thinking out loud. Before you make the motion for Dolores and yourself, would we consider maybe saying half of the students that are on the request for both programs? What are your thoughts for if we were to say yes with and then they can conditionally come back and then if there's no issues, then the other half can be granted, or is that something that should not be considered?
So again, just to kind of interject here real quick, and we need to address these schools separate. So let's go and interject.
Yes.
Unitech right now is only asked for 50 students annually. It's 25 students each start. When you look at that and you look at staffing, right? Because part of our action is to address resources and adequacy of resources, right? When you go to start decreasing those numbers, you're also decreasing their ability to adequately staff them. So if you do not have both a fall and a spring cohort coming in, you may end up with a person that teaches just the fall and cannot teach in summer because they've taken another job. So if the school is set up to do 2 enrollments and they're asking for an enrollment increase to both enrollments, it would behoove us to consider that as we're going through that process. Additionally, if you're looking at a cohort of 25, to cut that in half, you're looking at 12 and a half students. That again, when you look at the resources that the school has to consider, it doesn't make sense financially for that. So they're coming in with a low number. They have 2 enrollments. I think we need to address Unitech separately. And if Tricia, you're looking at that motion, what you would make is the acceptance of the enrollment increase with the number that they're requesting. And then you can put in there that the specific location this is for is based on the contract that they have with Community Health Systems, and it is for the duration of that contract, which is 7 years. And if at any point that contract is changed, denied, or void prior to those 7 years, and after that 7 years, that they would revert back to their current numbers that they have today. And so that is something that you can consider as you're making that motion, Tricia.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Lori, for interjecting that those thoughts.
So Jovita, just to answer your question, I am comfortable going with the 25 students twice a year for a total of 50 students. I'm just, because you asked, I wanted to let you know. And Dolores, I'm not sure if you.
No, I'm comfortable with that. As long as their contract with Community Health Systems, I believe it is.
That is correct.
Yeah, as long as that contract is in place. Once that contract is expired, or if somehow it's discontinued, they go back to their previous numbers.
Correct. And that's exactly what you did at Bakersfield when they did the Fresno. You put it with the contract, and they are, and Dr. Yosef can confirm, but they are very aware that when the contract ends or if anything changes, they have to come back. They cannot absorb those into their current enrollment at either Bakersfield nor Fremont.
Yes.
Absolutely. We were very clear about that.
Well, I'll go ahead then and make a motion to recommend acceptance of the substantive changes requested by an approved program and approve the enrollment increase for Unitech College at their Fremont campus with an enrollment pattern of its 25 students twice a year for a total of 50 new students annually. which brings the total enrollment of the Fremont campus to 210 students. And this approval is conditional on retaining the contract with Community Health Services, Health Systems for 7 years, and that if that contract changes or ends, they'll revert back to their existing enrollment numbers.
I second it.
PRN moderator, would you take us to public comment, please?
We will be. Sorry.
I thought we went to public comment.
Already had public comment on this item, so we can go to public comment again if you guys want to, or you can go to roll call vote, either or are the options.
Oh, if we're okay with no public comment, we will take it to a vote. Are you?
Well, just to be clear, we had public comment, so it would be no public comment. It just would not be an additional public comment.
Thank you for fixing my words, Lori. Then let's take it to a vote. I, Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo?
I vote yes.
And Tricia Nguyen?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
And I want to thank you, Dr. McCarthy, Ms. Melby, and the committee for supporting our program. And we wish the best for Samuel Merritt. And Brian, please reach out to me if you need any help. Thank you.
And thank you for being patient with our concerns.
And then real quick, Jovita, to address your question on having the enrollment, making it in half for Samuel Merritt, they are requesting 96 students annually. That is an enrollment pattern of 48 students twice a year. That is what they're requesting. They did mention that they do have the campus that's been sitting ready, it's waiting, and they're hoping to get somebody in. So that would be a separate question for Tricia and Dolores if you guys wanted to have a conversation around that, to change that to potentially 24 students twice a year, and then having come in. You could do anything at this moment. It is up to you guys, but I wanted to make sure, Jovita, that your question was asked for both of them, but in a separate manner, so that you can see that there are different concerns that the committee or the board would take into consideration. And so with this, they are asking for a new campus. And again, you have to also understand about resources with the new campus and what they've projected, and that is included in their executive summary. And so open it up for conversation, or continue with the thought that they would come back to Education Licensing Committee so that they can get more work done with that consortium, which was the ask of the public. Thank you.
Well, and that's kind of where my comfort level would be. I mean, I appreciate so much the attitude of the administrators who are willing to do this and really start off right. So I would be more inclined to just put this off, let them get their ducks in a row, and then it just smooth sailing when we take it up in April.
I totally agree with you, Tricia, on this. Rather than cutting their enrollment in half, I think we need to look at the whole picture and have time to do so, and time for the school to make those connections with the community and the consortium. So I'm willing to at least put it off till the next ELC in April. If not, then the board in May.
Okay, yeah, that's right, because Lori said that bringing it to February would be, there'd be not enough time, right? If I remember correctly.
Dolores, if that was a motion, I would be willing to support that we just defer action.
Yeah.
And then the great thing is that the program administrator agreed that it would be too much. So I just don't want to hang solely on BRN staff, because we are here to work with the public and accommodate as we can.
So we're deferring, the recommendation would be to defer decision until the April ELC meeting?
Yes.
Is that enough time for them?
Well, we can work with them, and if it's not, we can simply let you know. Do you know what I'm saying? We'll bring them forward, just letting you know the status of where they're at.
All right.
Yeah, Stephen Rush that was on the call, he had presented earlier. He said that he would request to do that timeline. So I believe there's an agreement with that.
That would, I do feel that would be enough time to build those relationships. I'm all about being a team player. And like I said, I just love the tone of this meeting. Thank you so much for your support. But I do think that would be plenty of time for us to, demonstrate to you and to gain your confidence that the clinical placements would no longer be an issue.
Thank you. So we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Wait the seconds.
All right. We have already opened up for public comment, so we can take it to a vote, Jovita.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna ask that. This is Jovita Dominguez, votes yes. President Dolores Trujillo
I vote yes.
and Trisha Nguyen. Trisha?
Sorry, yes.
Motion carries.
carries, yep.
And
So
I would like to additionally thank both schools for their commitment and for their understanding and being patient as we sort through this. Sort through some of these issues.
I would like to make a comment too and just really say thank you very much, Sammy Merritt, for going through the new process. You guys are the first school that went through the process, and I do understand that you guys came in prior to that process coming into law last January. And you guys, because the materials and everything wasn't ready and finalized, you did have to adjust and change and go back to the drawing board and then enter in this current process. So I really appreciate your time with that. One of the things that you did mention was that you did already have the NEC come out and do the evaluation. So I will touch bases with the supervising nursing education consultant, and if that is true, we can put you through with both agenda items on the next one for both the acceptance of the feasibility as well as the acceptance of the self-study, so that it is a one and done for you guys. If that is confirmed that that work has already been done and you guys are in compliance with everything. So I'll work with the NEC and the supervising NEC on that if that's accurate, so that we can expedite this for you, because we do know that you guys have been in this process for a very long time, and I appreciate your patience with that. So we'll do our best to get this going for you if that works after I confer with the NECs. Thank you.
All right. With the completion of our agenda, we go to item 8.7, and we'd like to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jovita, for running the meeting.
Thank you for your patience.
We'll see you in February. Enjoy.
Yes, in person?
In February at DCA Sacramento area, BRN headquarters. So we'll see you guys there. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.